Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're watching. Miles here. Welcome to Coaching for Coaches, the show that is designed to give you really common sense, but not necessarily common practice ways that you can grow your coaching business in the current climate that we're in. In today's episode, we're going to specifically talk about. I'm playing with a new toy here. I've got a new microphone. So firstly, you got to let me know if you're here live. Let me know if you can hear me. If I get people going, then I know that the sound isn't working. So if you're here, say I'm here. I can hear you. If you're watching on Facebook Live, you might need to. There should be like a StreamYard button that you can press. StreamYard have got like rules about comments and stuff, so you might want to click on the might want to click on a button there so that your comments show up in StreamYard. If you've got questions, then be sure to post a question, but make sure you click that StreamYard button so that I can see your question. So let me know if you're here. Let me know if you're here and you're watching live. Give me a yo. Let me know that you can hear me. Give me a yo in the comments. Let me know that you can hear me okay. So we're going to talk today about how to get 100 new leads for your coaching business with no marketing spend whatsoever. Lots to cover today, lots to talk to you about. So first thing I want to do is just kind of clarify who this is for. If you are a coach already and you are, Ed's here, hope you're well, Ed. If you are a coach already and you have your business is thriving, you've got as many clients as you could possibly ever want and need, you're making exactly the amount of money that you would want in your coaching business. And basically you're living the dream life, your coaching business is perfect, then this video might not be possibly as relevant for you. However, if right now you have a coaching business and you don't have as many clients as you want, if right now you're not yet a coach and you're thinking about it, if you already are a coach and you've got clients but there's not as many as you want, or you're just getting started and you want to know, well, what's the first thing I should do? Should I be Facebook Live and should I be podcasting? Should I be doing video and public speaking? Should I write a book? And should I be posting on Instagram every day? If you're a bit confused about what your marketing should be, then stick around, because in this video is definitely for you, because it's going to teach you how to get your first 100 leads, which from my experience, if I kind of share my story in a minute, is proven to get you to the point where you got people putting their hand in the air, booking calls. And for many people that have used this strategy I'm going to share with you today, will potentially turn into your first paying client. So, and here's why I think that it's really important that you use this strategy now more than ever. A lot of people will tell you that if you want to grow your business, you need to be posting on social media and you need to do this, and you need to have a podcast and all this kind of stuff. And all those things are relevant. But if you're a coach just starting out, one of the great lessons that I've learned from a great mentor, Mr. Tony Robbins, is if you do the right thing at the wrong time, you'll get pain. And what do I mean by right thing at the wrong time? Well, if you drink a Red Bull just before you're about to go to sleep, it's not even the right thing, is it? It's not good for you. But if you want energy and that's your way of getting it, then having a Red Bull at bedtime is definitely not the right time. If you have just passed your driving license, newly qualified, just pass your driving test, and you go and buy a Ferrari, which would be amazing, by the way, to see someone with L plates on a Ferrari. Have we ever seen that in the history? I'm going to Google L plates on Ferrari. Someone Google that. Let's make that a hashtag today. My Google for some reason. Stop it, Google. Shouldn't. Okay, I just have to not say the G word because my phone's here. She's like, sorry, did you want me? No, I don't, not at the moment. Thank you. Appreciate you though. Give it up for Google. She stopped. So the point here I'm making is, I digress, but if you get a Ferrari when you just pass your driving test, that's the right thing. Nice car at the wrong time, because there's a high probability that you'll crash that car. So a lot of people, when they're becoming certified as coaches, Carrie says, I know you won't see this until after. I am seeing it, Carrie. So you obviously have done whatever it's asked you to do. I know you won't see this until after, but there's no StreamYard button here, maybe a link in the title. So it's obvious that maybe they've changed it because I've just seen your comment, Carrie. There you go. So questions, comments, please post them. Thank you, Carrie. You're an absolute legend. Yeah, I can see it. By the way, your hair looks magnificent in your profile picture, just so you know. Ed, yours does too, and anybody else that's watching. I can't see your pictures because you haven't commented, but Carrie and Ed have. Thank you. So when you start out as a coach, a lot of people will bring you into the false assumption that you need to do this and you need to do that. And that's because what people are doing is they're marketing their product and their service. I unashamedly spend a lot of time on social media marketing my service. But if you were with me back April last year, sort of around the time of COVID happening, you'd have found me, well, end of March specifically, running a seminar in a hotel in the Holiday Inn in London and being effectively told by the hotel staff that this would have to be our last event because government regulations say you're not going to be able to do any more after this. And if you were with me back then, you might have been about to experience something that was going to change your life forever. Because back then, last year, my income was solely dependent on running events and seminars in hotels. It was a great income, but it was reliant on me arriving with a suitcase, with a laptop, with a projector, running a seminar to a group of strangers, and it was reliant on me building rapport, getting them to trust me, and then getting them to enroll in whatever program we were selling. And that was my primary income source, and it was a considerably high amount of income, and all of a sudden that's zero. I get home, usually Sattie's in bed, but this evening she's stayed up. She opens the door. Are you okay? I don't know what we're going to do, Sat. We'll be okay. We'll be all right. We'll figure it out. Sat, our income's gone. Like, we can't run events. Like, what are we going to do? Like, your maternity pay's running out. We don't have any other income coming in. We've got savings, but how long's this thing going to last? What do we do? We'll figure it out. I spent the next 102 days working my tail off. And I say specifically 102 days because that's how long it took for me to replace that income. And what I'm going to share with you today is exactly what I did to replace that income that required no hotel, no seminar room, no Holiday Inn whatsoever. 102 days to replace that income using the strategy that I'm about to share with you. So if you're in a position right now where you want to replace your income, it was a considerable income. If you're in a place right now where you just want to get out of doing whatever it is you're doing, or you just want a good new secondary income, then this strategy last year saved my family from COVID financial ruin. So grab a notepad and a pen because these are serious times we're in. There's no guarantee that we, in my work anyway, that we're going to get to go back to normal and do events in hotels. It looks like that's happening, but you know, there's a very good who says COVID-20 isn't going to happen, right? So I think it's highly important that you have a way of generating leads for your coaching business that isn't dependent on you going to a location, isn't dependent on you running an event in a hotel, and that you have a way of generating an income that doesn't rely on those things. Because if COVID-19 has taught us anything, it's that the world is very different now, and there are things that we took for granted before. Like I took for granted that for me it was just a case of just, you know, I would complain if a hotel didn't give me the right amount of chairs on an any given workshop, or they'd not put enough bottled water in the room, and what I would have given last year between April and through to now to be able to run an event in a hotel. So it's vitally important. So let's get into this thing, shall we? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you my screen. I'm going to share with you my slides. So you should in a minute be able to see my slides. So you should now be able to see my slides. And I am going to, there we go. I've not done slide sharing in this before, but you should be able to see my slides now. So hopefully you can see my slides. I'm just going to have to assume that you can because it's not allowing me to access both screens at once. But I'm going to take you through something from our training, from the marketing part of our training. Obviously, there are 4 key elements to growing a coaching business. We teach all 4 on my Certified Elite Performance Coach one-day training. If you haven't attended, I highly recommend you do. It's a phenomenal training. It's completely free. I think there's about 9 seats left for the next one, which is July the 24th, I think. So get yourself booked on for that. There should be a link somewhere posted underneath this video at some point. But I'm going to share with you something from our marketing component, which is called the stress-free marketing method. The reason why we call it stress-free is because I know a lot of coaches, I know when you first start out, how stressful it can be to get clients because you become certified, and then if you're anything like me, when I became certified as a coach, I became accredited as a coach, the thing that they didn't teach me was how to get clients. I came away with this big, massive training manual of how to coach, how to deliver a session, but I didn't learn anything about how do I effectively market and get clients. And it felt very stressful. So on our program, we teach you how to get clients without any marketing spend whatsoever. And I'm going to teach you a component of that today. So the thing I'm going to teach you is called the DM 100. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take you through this process. Now, the reason why this process is so powerful is because it requires you to not have a niche. A lot of people will tell you in the beginning, a lot of marketers will say, you got a niche, you got a niche, you got a niche. And a niche is a relevant part of marketing. But in the beginning, it is not the most important thing. In the beginning, the most important thing is using this process, the DM100. And I'm going to tell you why in just a minute. So what I want to do is I'm just going to kind of walk you through this, and I'll get into like why each bit is so important, etc., as we go through it. But make sure you grab a fresh sheet of paper, fresh notepad as I take you through this, and then I'll pull out of my slides and I'll be able to answer any questions that you've got. So the first thing that you've got to do to make this DM100 process work is you've got to shortlist 100 people. So the first thing that I did when I did the DM100, the first thing that I did to get that income replaced in 102 days last year, is I asked myself this question: who do I already know that would be up for having a coaching call with me? Why is it important to ask the question, who do you already know? The reason why that's so important is because it is easier, believe it or not, it is easier to get people to invest in you if they already know you. Now, a lot of people, when I go through this process, they're like, oh, I don't feel comfortable selling to my family and stuff like that. And I say, that's absolutely fine. I don't sell to my family either. Like, I'm not using this process on my mum. But is it fair to say that there are people in your phone book, or on your social media, or in your emails, or on your LinkedIn, or that you've met at businesses or networking? Is it fair to say there's 100 people that you know or have met that aren't friends, they're acquaintances, they're people that they know of you? Oh yeah, I know Carrie. Oh yeah, cool. They're not friends, they're not family, they're not people that you spend a lot of time with, but they're people that know you and know of you. Those people I call kind of let's call them your amber perimeter of people. So they're not really friends. Facebook calls them friends. They're not really friends. They're your amber perimeter, which means that they're a group of people that know you and know of you. And the reason why your amber perimeter is so important when it comes to building a coaching business is because those people already know you, which means they're more likely to trust you than a complete stranger. Is it fair to say that if you were in need of help, right, and you're, I don't know, let's say you've had a problem in your house, right, you've got a leak or something, and you knock on your neighbour's door, is there a good chance that your neighbour, if they're a nice person, is there a good chance that they're likely to help? Put yes or no in the chat. And obviously some of you go, I don't have nice neighbours. What the point here I'm making is, your neighbours aren't your friends, unless your neighbours are your friends. But in most cases, your neighbours aren't your friends. But because they know you, because they've seen you around the area, they're more likely to help you than if you just wandered up to a person in Sainsbury's and said, hey, I've got a problem with my car, would you help? They're like, oh, actually, sorry, in a bit of a rush. So this amber perimeter isn't your friends and family. It's 100 people that know you and know of you. And from my experience of doing this process, the people that we've taken through my program, they can come up with 100 people that know of them, that aren't their immediate friends, that they could just put on a shortlist. All right. So the first thing you've got to do is just shortlist 100 people. Now, I'm going to add an element to this to make it even more streamlined. As you, and this is what I literally do when we take people through this on my program, is we get you to go into your phone and ask yourself this question. Would this person be someone that I feel would be open, just open to coaching? Based on your, and just a random guess. It doesn't, oh, I'm not sure. Okay, if you're not sure, just put yes. Better to say yes than no. Yes, yes, no, no, no. So what happened is last April, I went through this process on the advice of a mentor, and I came up with, I think I didn't actually come up with 100 people. I came up with like 93 people. All right. So the first thing you got to do is open a note in your phone and shortlist 100 people, or as close as you can get to 100 people. All right. That's the first thing you've got to do. The second thing that you've got to do, which is the thing that makes this process work, is you've then got to get into what we call a peak state. What do we mean by a peak state? Or what we mean by a peak state is, one of the great sayings of Tony Robbins is, you know, emotion is created by motion. Is it true that would you say that it's true that if you were maybe not in the best of moods and you went for a walk in fresh air or a run in fresh air or a workout, is it fair to say that many times you come back feeling at least a bit better than you did before? Put yes if that's true, or no if it's not in the chat. The reason why that happens scientifically is because when you elevate your heart rate, it puts you in what we call a peak state. And the reason why a peak state is so important for this process is because there's a chance, in fact, there's almost a certainty, that you will get the number one thing that most people fear when going through this process, which is rejection. Meaning you'll get people that either don't reply or you get people that say no. And that's most people's biggest fear. In fact, it's why most people are comfortable posting on social media. But if you ask them to do this process, a lot of people are a bit scared. It's because there's a higher probability of rejection. And one of our deepest fears in life is that we're not enough and that we'll be rejected. So it's really important that you get in a peak state for this. Why? Because when you're in a peak state, the chemical like endorphins increase, kind of flow out into your body, which makes you feel good. And the stress hormone, which is called cortisol, goes down. And when your stress goes down and your endorphins go up, you feel good. And when you feel good, you're more likely to do good. So when you're in a peak state, you're more effective. You're going to be better as a husband, you're better as a father, better as a man, better as a wife, better as a friend when you're in a peak state. So this is really a lesson for life, is if you feel in any given day like your emotions are off, I just don't feel very good today, then you instantly need to go, well, Miles said, if I don't feel good, I need to get in a peak state. So you can apply this to any time of the day. The way I set up my morning, went to the gym, actually this morning got up, did yoga, went to the gym, came home, went for a walk for 45 minutes with Sati and Sage, went to the forest, spent time in nature, came back, did another 10 minutes of yoga. You go, that's a lot. Yeah, it is, because I know how important it is for me to be in a great state, for me to produce the best version of me in just this Facebook Live or the podcast right now. So important. And what most people do is they just jump into an activity without generating the state. Brendan Burchard says the power plant doesn't have energy, it generates it. So you have to generate energy. Like the way that you charge your phone, you got to charge yourself, right? So if you want to make this work, the most important thing about this process is get in a peak state. Do not skip that process. Third, you've then got to do the thing that ties number one and number two together, which is you've got a voice message the 100 people. What do I mean by voice message? Well, what I mean by voice message is you've got to get out of your phone and you've got to actually send that person a voice message inviting them to a coaching session with you. Now, on my program, on our full 3-day master coach training, we actually give you exactly what to say. We give you an exact script of what to say, and pretty much probably got a 99% success rate of people that go through our program that use this script, that do the voice message the way that we teach them, get people saying, yes, I want to call, yes, I want to call, yes, I want. Carrie Griffiths, who's here on the broadcast now, has used this approach. She went through our program, our Master Coach program. Carrie, if you could verify this, it'd be amazing. I don't know how many she got booked immediately after the course, but she got her first 2 paying clients within 2 weeks of going through our program by applying this strategy. No marketing spend, no Facebook Lives. I mean, Carrie does that stuff as well. Anyway, Carrie Griffiths, by the way, incredible vocal coach, and she's amazing coach, by the way. Check out Carrie. Big shout out. Love you, Carrie. But yeah, she did this approach and got her first 2 paying clients within 2 weeks. So it's a phenomenal strategy. But like I said, we teach you exactly what to say on our 3-day program. I highly recommend, if you're not been through it yet, or if you're not certified yet as a coach, or you're already a coach, but you're just like, oh, I need to know how to get clients, then this program is an amazing program to help you, to teach you what to do and how to do this approach. So you've got a voice message to the 100 people in your most sincere, authentic way. You've got to send them a voice message in a way that is so compelling that they're like, oh my God, that sounds amazing. Would love to have a call with you. And the reason why a voice message is so important is because it's more authentic than a text message. Now, I don't know if you already use voice messages or if you receive them, but there's something more authentic about a voice message. It shows a degree of effort that is greater than a text message. It'd be very easy for me to send Ed a text message inviting him to my workshop thing and just copy and paste what I sent to Carrie, right? Be very easy. So it's so important that you do voice message and not text message, because when I message Carrie and say, hey, Carrie, hey, Miles here, hope you're amazing. That's not even what we would say, that there's a script for it. But the point here I'm making is there's way more authenticity that she will feel, because she's like, oh my God, he's actually gone out of the way to voice message me. Wow, that's amazing. So important that it's a voice message. 4th thing, if you don't do the 4th thing, this won't work. You won't get paying clients, guaranteed, if you don't do the 4th thing. This is probably the number one thing that where most coaches fall down. This is probably the number one thing that separates coaches that are doing okay to average to the coaches that are doing amazing, is number 4. And it's you've got to follow up. You've got to follow up. What do I mean by follow up? What I mean by follow up is you have to send a message to that person more than once. Let me tell you a story. A few years ago, when I had a business teaching people how to sell gym memberships, I wanted to get hold of the CEO of a big national gym chain. And one day I got a call out of the blue from his PA. Yes, hi, is that Miles? Yeah, it is. Who's this? Hi, it's Anne here. I'm Jan's PA. I've got him on the line for you. You able to take the call? Yeah, of course. Yeah, sounds amazing. Put him on. I'm excited. Trying to get hold of this guy for ages, right? Hi, Jan. How you doing? Hi, Miles. Let me get to the point. This is not a friendly call. The reason I'm calling you is, can you stop messaging and calling me, please? Oh, sorry, Jan. The reason why I kept messaging you is because I'd not heard back from you. Yeah, well, can you stop messaging me because it feels like it's bordering on harassment now. Ever had that experience where you were so excited about something and then it was like someone just popped the balloon? I was mortified. Oh, Jan, I'm so sorry. That was really not my intention. I assumed that because you'd not replied that you'd not got my message. So I just kept trying to reach out, because the way I was trained in sales was you've got to follow up, you've got to follow up, you've got to follow up until you get a definite no. So really, I'm ever so sorry. It wasn't my intention to offend you or upset you or anything like that. I just really know I can help your team. I know I can help the guys make more sales. I'm just really passionate about helping you, and just wanted to get to the point where we could have a conversation because I know I can help you. So forgive me for my persistence. Do you know what, Miles? That's exactly the kind of persistence I actually really admire in people. So I want to apologize to you because I misunderstood why you were so persistent. Are you free for a meeting next Wednesday? Yeah, Jan, of course. What time? I can do any time you like. How's 10 o'clock sound? Sounds amazing. I'll see you then. True story. That turned into £15,000 worth of business, all because I followed up. Never underestimate the power of follow-up. It is vitally important. Until someone says no, assume that it is not no. They're just busy. He's the CEO of a gym chain with hundreds of clubs. Just assume that the person is busy until they say a definite no. Really important. And then the last thing is you've got to book the call, deliver the call, and close the sale. On my program, we actually teach you exactly what to do on that call. Like, we teach you the exact script of what to say. We teach you exactly how to close the sale so that there's a high probability that the person buys from you. So that is the process that we call the DM100. And there you go. So I'm getting some comments coming through. Amazing. Reem has shared the link for our next training, which is July the 24th. Thank you, Reem. You are amazing. Yeah, Carrie said had 2 paying clients within 2 weeks. Forgive me, Yenkuna. I think that's how I say your name. Yenkuma, is it a silent N? I feel like it is. Great to see you here. Are there any questions before we conclude today's broadcast? I'd love to. This is a good opportunity. I'm going to have a mouthful of water. A good opportunity to answer any questions that you may have about that approach that I've just shared with you. I'll give it a second because there's often a delay. But let me tell you this. The only thing that prevents that process from working, well, the number one thing that prevents that process from working is your mind telling you that it won't work for you. One of the key things I've learned from a good friend and mentor of mine, Nick James, is he says pretty much all marketing strategies work It's whether you can make it work. So it's so important that you know that if you have any resistance, if there's a story inside your mind that tells you that won't work for me, I don't know 100 people, the 100 people that I know, it won't work for them. Your mindset in this process is really important. You've got to know that there will be a high feeling of, unless you're used to this type of process, unless you've done cold calling for years, there's probably an energy inside you that says, oh my God, this feels, I don't know if I can do this, because your brain wants to keep you safe, wants to keep you in your comfort zone. And there's a chance of rejection. And we don't want rejection. We're hardwired to want to move away from rejection. But I'm here to tell you, on the other side of that fear, on the other side of your comfort zone, is the dream coaching business that you've always wanted. 102 days from financial oblivion, all business gone, to replacing that income and saving me and Sati and Sage from what would have eventually been in a position where we had, well, there was no jobs, there was no hotels to do events, in a position where we would have had to give up our home and move in with Sati's parents if they'd have even allowed us to do that. We should have, and thinking about the detrimental impact that would have had on our marriage, on our intimacy, on so many things. So really, really important to know. Eddie says, how do you deal with those that say they don't have the time? How do you deal with those that say they don't have the time? Well, one of the things that we teach in the program is how to handle objections like that. There's definitely a way to deal with that. One of the key things as well in the beginning is setting up your diary, I recommend, when you have morning, afternoon, evening availability for coaching, so that removes or lowers the barrier to people that are likely to object to that. But know that even if you have various different times, if I have morning, afternoon, evening, someone says, oh, I still can't do those times, then it suggests, not necessarily, but it suggests that they're not as deeply passionate about having this coaching experience as maybe another person might be. But what I will say is, if you deliver it the way that we teach you on my program, it will have a high probability that you get people booking calls with you. And as Carrie said, she got her first 2 paying clients within a couple of weeks using that approach. So that is it. I hope you have enjoyed this episode. We'll be back. I think we'll be back next week. Make sure there should be a link in the chat, I believe, for you to add yourself to the text message list so that you can get reminded as to when our next broadcasts are. Any other comments, questions that you have, pop them in the thread underneath. Get yourself booked on if you haven't already. There is a link which Reem has shared. Get yourself booked on to our next, it should be, let me make sure it's there. Let me put that, there you go. Get yourself booked on to our next event, which is on July the 24th. There are 9 seats still left available, so make sure you get yourself booked in for that. But other than that, have a great day, and I'll see you next week. Peace out.